Well, my philosophy, is this: establish principles and forever live accordingly. Because if your principle would be, I do not smoke cigarettes whatsoever.
Yeah.
When somebody offer you a cigarette, you're gonna say no. It's against my principle.
Mm-hmm.
You say, I do not drink alcohol. Somebody offer you alcohol, you're gonna say no. It's against my principle. I do not waste my time. I do not involve myself in meaningless things that's not going to benefit my day. Hey man, let's go to the party, man, and have fun. No, brother, you go to the party, you have fun. Why you don't want to go? It's against my principles. Establish principles and forever live accordingly. Once you have principles are your guiding posts. It lets you know what and what not to do. It gives you your moral fiber. It gives you your core person. You see what I'm saying? It shows you who you really are. Like somebody said, I'm a man of principle. That's what they mean. Certain principles that I have and certain things I will not do because of my principle. And that's how you judge men. You judge men not by what they seem to be, but who they are. Once a man show you who they are, you believe them.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's an old saying. Somebody always say, man, I didn't mean to do this, I didn't mean to do that. I said, okay, well, if you didn't mean to do it, then jump off the Empire State Building, land, and get up. If you're fortunate enough to get up and tell me, say, wow, I didn't mean to do that. Or run in front of a semi-truck going about 80 miles an hour and get hit by the semi-truck and then tell me you didn't mean to do that.
Mm-hmm.
People say they don't mean to do things, but sometimes, man, people do what they do because that's who they are. And they try to, give you the excuse that they didn't mean to do it. Or, that ain't me, man. I'm telling you, man, I ain't like that. Well, yes, it is. That is you. That is your principle. That's your fiber. That's your moral fiber.
Yeah.
People who are heartless, man, they ain't just heartless. That's who they are. That's their character. You know what I'm saying? That's their makeup, their genetic makeup.
So really it comes down to not actually being real with themselves and dealing with, whatever issues that they got going within self.
Well, a man got two self, a higher self and a lower self.
Yeah.
And each self have values. The higher self breeds hatred, sloth. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, every day to harm. The higher self is the mothers of the virtues of the higher life and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. So if a person is in his higher self, he's going to have justice, mercy, love, and right. If a person is lower self, you're going to have hatred, slander, lewdness, theft, murder, and everything that harms. So, it depends on what self a person show up in, you got some people, like I always say, they have representatives, they give you a fake self to shield their real self, you know what I'm saying? So yes, you have to have some type of self-confidence. You have to have some type of moral fiber, in order to be a moral person. You know what I'm saying? You got to have moral principles in order to have moral results. I always tell people, if you want to change your reality, change your mentality. If you want to change your aptitude, change your attitude. And you will just change whatever. If you want to get rid of fear, don't run, have courage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The only thing that get rid of fear is courage. The only thing that get rid of hot is cold. The only thing that get rid of evil is love. Everything has this polar opposite. You got the North Pole and the South Pole. You got the wall and the floor. You got the heads and the tails. So we have to just change our opposite, in order to change who we are and to change our moral principles and our moral fiber.
Yeah. Have a greater content of self.
Yes, sir. No, self-development is based on, one's, intuition and one's experience. Your experience give you self-worth. You know what I'm saying? And, it takes a long time for some, it takes a short time for others. Some people are just born with that gift, to be self-confident and to have self-worth. But, over time and period, it germinates and it grows within us.
I like how you spoke on, judge a man by his actions, because, some people may look at a person like, oh, well, they're doing all this, but if you really get to looking into their character and they start doing something different that they proclaim as their character, that's your answer right there.
Hey man, Maya Angelou said it best. If a person show you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
you got to understand that there's no way that we can allow certain things to happen in our lives without accepting the understanding and the wisdom and knowledge that we know what just happened.
Yeah.
You know, my eyes don't deceive me. This person just slapped me.
Mm-hmm.
But he's telling me that he didn't mean to slap me. Or this person just stole some money from me.
Yeah.
And this person telling me that, you know, man, I ain't know it was your money. But you and I are the only one here, and I have money, you don't. But you didn't know it was my money. It ain't yours. You know, so yes, you know, I mean, we have to be very vigilant. You know, we have to be very prudent, very cautious about who we deal with and who we don't deal with, especially when it comes to life. Because sometimes, one of these times, you're going to meet somebody who's really not a good person, and they might bring some serious harm to you.
Yeah.
It's irreparable. So, you know what I mean? The best way is to, you know, just judge people for who they are and peep game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at them as a principle. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what is this person's principle? I mean, if a person don't have no principles and they don't have no standard or no limitations, then you have to be very cautious around that person.
Another thing I like to say is probably, you know, people that they're going off of just, you know, first thing that hit their mind, they're going off of that and running with it versus, you know, following all the way through with diligence and seeing if that truth is actually, you know, real that this other person is professing.
Yeah, well, we call those people impulsive. You know what I'm saying? So most people go on impulse.
Yeah.
You know, and those are people who allow their emotions to supersede their intelligence.
Yeah.
Anything we do, we should use logical deduction. We should use reasoning before we make a decision, before we make a move.
Yeah.
Because when we don't logically analyze the situation and deduce the situation, then what happens is we end up moving on impulse. And anything can happen when you move on impulse. Always think before you act. Always know you have at least a close enough conclusion of how the situation going to end before you embark upon it. Because you can find yourself in a very precarious and a very dangerous situation by not analyzing it and scrutinizing the things that you say or do.
Mm-hmm.
Too cool to come 24/7.